With that, let's go to Lesley's question. Which costs are potentially negotiable out of closing costs? I like this question.
I totally checked out what.
There's a ton of closing costs. We've gone through that. They're just like, wow, you got to put aside this percentage, blah, blah, blah.
Again, I was
so
which
I forgot her helmet.
Which of the closing costs are potentially negotiable for the buyer or the seller? Who pays closing costs?
I would say lender fees.
Lender fees are negotiable.
Origination fee, right?
Well,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
Yeah, I love that.
That's part of lender fees. Sometimes escrow, title and escrow can be.
Tend to be kind of legally, they're kind of set and they're based on the purchase price.
Well, there's a California law, you wouldn't know it, but there's a California law that says that the buyer has the right to choose their lender, their
title company.
their title and their escrow company.
I know,
that's weird.
It's a disclosure that we have to give.
Right.
Yeah.
And now it still never happens that way. The seller always chooses it, and they always put it in the thing.
And the REO sellers actually get a big discount on their escrow costs, so it, in turn, it works out in the
So,
favor.
Frank, if I were to invoke my right as a buyer to choose my escrow company, my right to do so, would the bank turn around and say, then I'm not selling you the house?
No.
I want my escrow.
But you're putting yourself in a pickle. Because the banks are really quick to draw on notices to perform when you're delaying things and things like that.
As a lender, I would be not for it simply because, and even as a buyer, would be not because that's one extra party that we now have to coordinate with. That's another.
Don't throw a wrench in other words.
Yeah, and the banks are doing this gazillions of times a year. Their escrow companies, although they don't have it perfected, they've got a routine.
The question wasn't is it a good idea? It was can you?
Can you?
Screw your right.
So I think kind of my point is, even though there's some negotiating that can be done, hire professionals and pay them what they ask. I mean, most professionals, if you're in a pinch and you don't go to Walmart to buy a house. You just
not yet.
It's
coming though.
I mean to a certain extent you pay what you. Yeah, you can either go to the dentist that you found in the penny saver, or the one that or the one that your family's been going to for 25 years and all this stuff. I mean,
even though penny saver from,
because you get those coupons for free cleaning.
Dude, it's an actual magazine we get in Long Beach in the mail called the Penny Saver.
Sponsored by.
I know it is.
I'm with
you. Just shot down the penny saver.
You know what I'm saying is even though things are negotiable, doesn't mean that they should be negotiable, because a lot of times when it's negotiable, a professional service company is going to help you. If you need the money, they're going to figure out a way to help get you.
You notice that agents or lenders the same. Us agents take that stance when someone's trying to turn our 6% into 4%. It's the same thing the lenders, and they're completely right. You want the job done. You want it right. We're professionals. This is why our fees are what they are, because this is the effort that it takes.
Right. I don't like discounted service providers if you're making a decision solely on the fact that they're discounted. Now, if they come highly recommended and somebody referred you, and you know for a fact that these people are an absolute professional, then by all means you can ask them. But chances are you get what you pay for. And I just wouldn't screw around with that if you're buying a house.
And so many people out there shop.
Because you're talking about a few $100.
Yeah. But so many people, I've had people argue with me over $50. And I'm like, you're spending $400,000 and you're arguing about $50 because they're going to a chop shop.
Well, and here's the other thing is we see more problems. We see more issues with transactions in situations where there's a discounted, and I say this with real estate agents, some of those real estate companies that are discount real estate companies, I see less professional. If there's problems, I've seen more problems with the agents just not being completely engaged, and because a lot of times people that will do it for a discount are not confident in their abilities to do their job.
Or they take that you get what you pay for mentality, and they perform that way too.
Yeah, what if your boss came up to you and said, you know what, would you mind working for $1 less an hour this week? What would you say? No. So I think that's kind of a touchy area, because I understand the whole pay a fair price thing, but I think when it comes to buying a house,
you want the best team.
You want the best brain surgeon.
Although
you don't want the discount.
I do see some areas, unfortunately, where I think the escrow are the greater offenders, where I'd see like $400 notary fee.
Right.
And then I'd say, wait a minute, there was only one notary or two notaries, and where do we get the $400?
But a lot of times your real estate agent or your lender will go to battle for you on those.
Yep.
For those things.
Rick's a beast on that.